Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to Canine Cannibalism. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the disturbing movie Iceberg. Uh, Now, this is a filler episode, I guess you could say. Um, I am currently working on a book review. I am recording this a few days before the 25th of August, which is when I was originally planning to put out this book review. But the book is extremely long, and I'm parsing through each part of it in order to give you a fuller look into it, so that if you never wanted to read it, you'd never have to. But it is what I would consider one of the staples of the extreme horror literature genre. So stay tuned for that. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You will find out in due time. However, I did make a community post with a little riddle, and if you figure out the riddle, you will figure out what the book is. That is in the works. That will be out on by September 10th, and this is just putting this out here now, just so people don't think I've abandoned the channel. Also, I've wanted to make this video for quite some time. I recorded it previously, and it didn't turn out well, so I'm doing it again. I will two things. I have the input volume on my microphone extremely high for this, and I'm talking very lightly, hence the title Sleep Aid. I will do my best to adjust the audio if I get loud in certain places, since I'm still not great at talking very quietly for this kind of video. And what else? Oh yes, my monitor is 16 by 10. But obviously the video's size I like to put out is 16 by 9, so that it fills the YouTube menu properly, and it isn't like cut off or has to do weird formatting or whatever. And plus OBS defaults to 16 by 9, I believe. So I can see all the way down here, but you can't. So I'm going to do my best to keep things in the middle of the screen, the stuff that I'm talking about. If I mess up at all, that's why there's an issue. Just putting that out there as well. And that's pretty much all I have to say, so let's get right into this stuff. Right, even though it's already been like fucking 3 minutes probably. So, this tier list, I believe it was released in 2019, 2020-ish, right? And we can't talk about this tier list without talking about the Wendigoon video about it. Now, I have some personal complaints about some of the stuff that Wendigoon says and does in regards to his research. It seems to me that he could do a bit more due diligence with not just this topic, with some other things that he said. In his ocean video, I believe he ignores the glacier aspect of the bloop. So just things that you're saying this to a very large audience, you probably should be researching them more. But the most egregious example of this is this tier list right here. A lot of the stuff he said in that video, especially about the stuff down here and kind of up here a little bit, it is just so blatantly incorrect that it's problematic. But that's really not my main issue. My main issue is that A, he hasn't deleted the video, which is just, I mean, if you're wrong about like 70% of the content in the video, I feel like maybe delete it or re-edit it or refilm it. That's just me. B, his apology, because, okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the people who especially watch this kind of stuff down here on YouTube and stuff and review it tend to not be the best people. I'm not going to name names, just putting that out there. Tend to not be the best. But there are some people who watch this kind of stuff and review it that are not the worst people in the world. They're just people. And his blatant misinformation sicked a lot of his audience on these people, calling them horrible names, uh, they're like engaging in illegal activity. And his apology for that was in the middle of another video and kind of felt half-assed to me. On the other hand, I would never have found this content without his video, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Um, it was a very large part of my life, and I am the person I am today because of a lot of this, having seen a lot of all like this content and then all of this content. I it's just part of who I am, and I'm not necessarily proud of it, and we'll get to all of that. But I would never have found this content if it wasn't for his video. Again, that may be a bad thing that I found this content. I still debate that with myself. I don't think it was good for me per se, but I am who I am today because of it. And so in that way, his video also gave me an outlet for something I was looking for a very long time. I've always been a very morbid like into the taboo, and this is all this stuff down here is like this is as taboo as it gets, really. Like this is the final stage of taboo, and it gave me that push, that almost like adrenaline rush, because I've always been infatuated with taboo and disturbing garbage, and that stuff down there is like the final step of that. It was like watching disturbing, violent action, then watching horror, reading horror, watching more violent horror, and then making my way down the tier list to what is essentially the worst stuff you can get legally. Um, and I don't know, it kind of satiated my desire to surround myself with that kind of content. I mean, not fully, obviously. I still read extreme horror books. I still read horror in general. I still watch a shit ton of horror movies. But I no longer have any urge to watch things like gore or shock pornography, like all the stuff that's down here. I have no urge to watch it anymore. And so it kind of sated my curiosity. And I'm almost thankful for that. But at the same time, again, surrounding myself with the material like this in the way that I did was not good for my mental state. I think that's all I have to say about like the introduction to this kind of content and like Wendigoon. I have no really real issues with Wendigoon as a person, as a content creator. I have some iffy things about some of his research that he's done, but he's not like really hurting anyone. A lot of this stuff really is just like he made an honest mistake. I wish his response to it would have been better, but everyone's human. So, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through. I mean, what, it's been 5 years. I was an impressionable child in his audience. I saw the content, and we're just gonna do like a post game wrap up. We're gonna be like, I'm gonna go through and tell you exactly everything that I saw, what it's actually about, because a lot of the shit that he says in his video is just wrong, and we're just gonna talk about it. And if you're interested, stick around. I think we're already like what 15 minutes into the video. I talk a lot. That's fine. Sleep aid, whatever. So we're going to start off all the way up here on the first tier. This stuff up here is your standard horror movies. This is like a lot of classics. And it's also one of the tiers where I've seen the least. Like, it's a tier that you would expect me to have filled out. I never did because I don't care. Or at the time I was filling this iceberg out, I didn't care for a lot of this content. Um, but yeah, let's just start crossing some stuff off. So I did watch Friday the 13th. I've seen it 2 or 3 times. It's a classic slasher film. I mean, it's one of the greatest horror movies of all time, or at least greatest. It's one of the most influential horror movies of all time. Watching it again, it's not really a great film, especially compared to the movies of today, the horror movies of today. But I mean, it's a 40-year-old frumpy. We're going to be getting into spoilers for all this stuff, by the way. This is probably the only category where most of you, or maybe this one, where most of you will care about spoilers. But just warning there. It's a frumpy fucking 50-year-old woman killing children with an axe. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's so silly and goofy, and I love the first three sequels with Jason. When he starts getting resurrected is kind of where I drew the line with enjoyment, especially, oh God, I mean, takes Manhattan, uh, goes to hell. I kind of liked Freddy versus Jason, but it was so fucking long. It kind of dragged. But the first four and the fourth one is my favorite out of the series and one of my favorite horror movies. They're so good. They're so goofy and fun, and I love them dearly. Uh, I have probably a hot take on Child's Play. I fucking hated, or okay, hate is a strong word. I didn't like any of the movies. I found the first one boring, and I found all of the sequels boring except for Bride and Seed, and then Cult, I believe, is the second one in the reboot series that's still technically connected. It's like Curse of Chucky, then Cult of Chucky. When the Seed and Bride are really fucking odd to anyone who's seen them. You know what I'm talking about. And then Cult is also really weird, and that ties directly into the show, which I did not watch and I never will. But I never liked any of these films. I didn't. There was not a single film in this series that I liked. It was never into it. It was like Children of the Corn for me. I just never. None of the movies, not even the first one, I enjoy. Again with Scream, I really didn't like Scream. I like Scary Movie better than I like Scream. I like Scary Movie 2 better than I like Scream. It just felt very boring and I don't know. It probably, I don't know, remember when it was released in relation to other horror movies. It probably was very influential for its time. I mean, Ghostface is still widely considered one of the most notorious horror villains ever. But for me, I just really couldn't get into it. I didn't like any of the sequels. I don't think I've seen five or six. I'd have to check. But I've seen at least the first four, and I just didn't like any of them really. The first one was fine, I guess, but the others I just could not get into. I really liked the first Insidious, and the rest of them can kind of eat shit, in my opinion. So yeah, I also haven't seen The Red Door. I've seen all of the Conjuring movies, and we're gonna do these two at once, and the Annabelle movies. I've seen all three Conjurings, all three Annabelles. I've seen The Nun. I have not seen the second Nun. I have seen The Curse of La Llorona. Oh God, is there another I'm missing? Maybe, I don't know. I really liked the first Conjuring. I thought the second one was okay. It was fine. It was okay. I did not like the third one. I don't think a lot of people liked the third one. The Curse of La Llorona was disrespectful. The Nun was, and also the Curse of La Llorona really felt like the Nun, just reskinned, a reskinned villain, and it felt kind of disrespectful to the source material. There's a really good Mr. Gigi or Mr. Gigi video about that film. Actually, I think he made two videos about that film. I would recommend those if you're interested in that movie at all or learning why that movie's a piece of shit. The Nun is actually kind of a guilty pleasure. The first time I watched it, I thought it was kind of fun, but rewatching it, I think I've seen it twice. It's just bad. It's just really fucking bad. And then all of the Annabelle movies were shit. Yeah, at least in my opinion. I know there's a lot of people who really did like the first one. I didn't like any of them. I thought the second one was actually the strongest with the farmhouse and everything. Uh, the third one is just fucking miserable. I have not seen The Ring, nor have I seen The Grudge. Any of them. I have not seen original Ring, original Grudge, any of the crossovers, any. I mean, there's what, like fucking 15 films for each. You can't see me, quote unquote, series. Tried to do air quotes, but obviously that doesn't work when I don't have a camera on. I probably will eventually watch these. I just have never had any interest. Nightmare on Elm Street, I've seen all of the movies, unless there's been a recent one. I've seen what is it, the first six, the first one through Freddy's Dead, and then I saw the 2010 remake, which I really disappointed me, honestly. The first one's fine. Again, Friday the 13th. I like Friday the 13th, the first four movies better, all of them better than I like the first Nightmare on Elm Street. But the second one's weird. The first one is the first one is strong. The third one I thought was strong. And then what is it? Dream. It's Dream Warriors, Dream Master, Dream Child. Dream Master and Dream Child, Dream Master felt boring and bad, and Dream Child literally felt like it was just Dream Master again. I remember actually gasping when they redid like the beginning plot where someone dies from Dream Master. It was just very stupid. Wes Craven's New Nightmare I didn't enjoy. Again, Freddy vs. Jason I enjoyed, but it was too fucking long with far too little fighting between them. It's like a fucking kaiju film. Oh god, I'm probably missing one. I don't even remember Freddy's Dead. That's the one where the fucking kids go back into the town and they're in like the work release program or whatever. I don't remember. If that tells you anything about that film, I just don't fucking remember it. And then the 2010, I think it was 2010 remake. It was the same time the Friday the 13th remake came out, which I also did see, by the way. I just didn't talk about it. Uh, I am really honestly, and I still talk about this to like my dad and stuff whenever we're talking about horror movies or anything, or anyone who I'm talking to horror movies about. I'm really disappointed by the remake. They could have done something unique with the whole "oh my god, he might be innocent" plotline, and then they just made him a pedophile. I don't even think he kills kids in the remake. Originally in the originals, in the original movies, he's a child serial killer. Uh, and that's scary, right? And I feel like you're always in the back of your head wondering if he's like a fucking pedo or something, and he never ends up being that, from what I remember. And that's almost a good thing because I think that would just be a step too far. It would have made him more sleazy than actually scary, and that's what the remake is. They have this whole plot build up where, oh my god, maybe he actually didn't do anything because he never killed kids in the remake. Maybe the parents assumed that he was abusing their children and so they killed him, but the two main characters are like, you guys believed kids who we don't even remember anything bad happening to us. You just took us at our word with some of the weird things we said and you killed this man. Oh my god, he might be innocent. And then they go into the room, the dark room, the black room, whatever, that they told their parents about, and they find a box full of lewd photos of them as small children. And immediately it's just like, what the fuck, man? You had this really cool, oh my god, this guy is a vengeful ghost because he was killed unjustly plot, and then it turns out he's actually just a pedophile, and also now he's killing children. It's so stupid. It was such a dumb decision, in my opinion. Whatever. That's my rant on Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. I I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I like the sequel better. The second one. The third one is fine. I've seen the fourth one. I actually have that on disc, and it's just unnecessary. What else? Oh, the two remakes are just not great, in my opinion. They're too edgy and try hard. Like, well, this is like OG Grindhouse shit, OG Grindhouse slasher, and then the remakes are like polished and try really hard. Like, there's a lot more hints to sexual assault. There's a lot of, oh god, I think the lore is that they actually hit Leatherface's mom dies in a meatpacking plant because she's not allowed to leave because it's, I don't know, the fucking 30s, and her boss is like keeping her there against her will to work. She's essentially a slave, and I think it's implied that she's pregnant with his child. I don't remember fully, but then the boss throws the baby in the dumpster, and then the Sawyers, but they're not the Sawyers. I don't remember what their last name is in that movie. One of the women in the family comes along and finds the baby in the dumpster while searching for scraps of meat. It's like super try hard and just unnecessarily gritty and rough for no reason. And that's a symptom of a lot of movies that were made around that time. I think that was like what, 2008, I want to say, or maybe the prequel to it was 2008. The prequel, again, with a prequel like that, I don't know why I'm saying again. Um, with a prequel to a movie like that, you know that all of the good guys have to die, so it kind of takes any steam out of, or any steam out of the sails. Yeah, sure, why not? It's just kind of pointless to watch it if you know that all of the good guys are going to die, because all of the good guys have to die, and the only bad people you know can die are the ones that weren't in the first movie. It's just, that's my issue with horror prequels a lot, especially if it's done very poorly, like that one was. What else? Leatherface was fine. Texas Chainsaw reboot in 2022 was god awful, and then 3D was not great. Actually, that one was not great. There's probably one more I'm missing. I don't remember. The Hills Have Eyes. I personally liked the remake, the 2000, I think it was 2006 remake, better than the original. I think the original is Wes Craven. I've seen the original. I've seen the original sequel. I've seen the remake, and I've seen the remake sequel. In order of how much I liked them, it would probably be original, or sorry, remake sequel, original sequel. Even though the remake sequel has a really unnecessary violent rape scene, like out of nowhere, it's just completely unnecessary to anything. Um, but I would still say that that one is more entertaining than the original and the original sequel. Saw, I've seen all of them except for Book of Saw and Saw, I think it's 10 that we're on now. Soon to be 11 or 12 or 13 whenever you may be watching this video. Maybe watching this video and I'm like dead. It's 70 years in the future. Somebody stumbles across this. We're on like Saw 72, whatever. I thought the first one was fine. I thought the second one was slightly better, and all of the ones after that can bite my ass. House of a Thousand Corpses is weird, grindhousey Rob Zombie. I felt like he was doing far too much and just kind of threw things at the screen to see what would stick. It's his weakest movie that I've seen him. Actually, 31's his weakest movie that I've seen, in my opinion. And then it's this. And actually, oh God, that's really annoying. None of his movies are very great, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, at least the ones that I've seen. 31's not great. This isn't great. Devil's Rejects is maybe a little better than this, but maybe not by much. And Three from Hell is just god awful. So actually, this might be my favorite movie of his, which isn't great. I haven't seen the whatever of Salem, whatever that one is. Wow. I haven't thought about how bad most of his movies are. I've seen all three Hostel films. The first one's serviceable. The second one's a little fun during the torture scenes. The third one's terrible. Tusk, I don't get the appeal of. I found it boring. And that's really all I can say. Midsommar is the only movie that I've ever skipped a scene. Now, granted, I watched this movie before I watched any of this other stuff and became completely desensitized. But the I don't know, the scene where the guy is having sex with the cult girl and all of the old women are naked around them, like singing, it just fucking weirded the shit out of me and I skipped it. So, I think this was an effective piece of horror. I don't like the super mainstream horror stuff like this. This was fine. I didn't really like Hereditary, even though I know that objectively that movie is a masterpiece. It's just not my cup of tea. I've seen all three Human Centipede movies. The second one is the best, and that's just because it's not ending. It's down here. We'll get to it. But the Human Centipede, the first one is fine. It's or not fine. It's actually fucking terrible. The third one's the worst. Saw the 120 Days of Sodom. Uh, I don't know how to feel about that movie. It's about as close to CP as you can legally get. It's on some like Emperor Tomato Ketchup shit where it's like some of the actors are underage and doing some things for the film that maybe they shouldn't be, as far as I remember from reading a lot about it. So I don't know how that's actually okay to watch. I don't know the legality behind that. I would never watch it again because of that, because it's too close to that for my comfort. I didn't know that originally when I watched it. And that may be wrong that it's like that, but I'm not fully aware nor familiar. It might have been like an age of consent thing in Italy. I don't know because I think that's where I think it was actually filmed in Italy. I know it's about Italy. I actually don't know where it was filmed. It might not have been filmed in Italy. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's better than the book. I can say that. Shorter too. This is the first movie I watched purposefully on this list. It's not great. Animated. It's not really that disturbing. I don't know why it's here. It's just kind of there. in my opinion. I think there's some cultural things I just don't understand because of the time and the obviously the country of origin. I think it's Japan. Um, People are gonna laugh at me in the comments either if it is that or if it's not Japan because people who know where it is are gonna be like that name should obviously tell you where it's from. It's probably Japan. I'm gonna lock in Japan. I didn't like it very much. I think it's based off of a manga, uh, but I don't remember fully. I've seen both Martyrs movies, the original 2008 French film and the 2015 American remake. The 2015 American remake is an unnecessary pile of shit. The 2008 film is a classic. I think it's 2008. It is so good. It's such a good movie. I love that shit. I've seen Pink Flamingos. I actually just rewatched a bit of it with my girlfriend. I mean, I don't think it aged super well, and I don't mean like in the fact that every single part of that film is offending someone. I just mean I don't think it's a very good movie. I get why it was really why it has a cult following. I get that, and I get why it was shocking at the time. I just all of the scenes drag on for like 10 minutes too long. It is far too fucking long. Props to the director guy though. I'm pretty sure he did like 90% of the shit for that movie. So good for him. Her. I actually don't know who the director was. I'd assume it was a guy based on the narrator's voice, because I'm pretty sure the director also was the narrator of the movie. A Serbian film is the classic. It's not a good film. It's really just not a good film. Senseless shock value for the sake of shock. Kind of the same with Cannibal Holocaust. All the shock stuff just feels forced in. It's like Cannibal Ferox, but I think Cannibal Ferox came after. And I don't know. The first part is so fucking boring. The only interesting parts are like when they're interacting, the bad people are interacting with the cannibals. The lore behind this one's really interesting about like the director getting arrested because the government actually thought I think it was the Italian government because I think this is an Italian film. The Italian government thought he was actually filming a snuff film and he had to bring in the actors and actresses and like show the court how they did some of the scenes so that he didn't get fucking, I don't know, thrown in the slammer for murder. I had the privilege of watching The Human Centipede 2 in color, and it is the best way to watch that film, in my opinion. And it is vile, and it is the best in the series simply because it is just nonstop depravity. Yeah. Uh, I know a lot of people like Tetsuo the Iron Man. It's just the aesthetic of it. Um, I didn't enjoy it very much. I did not see either of the sequels either, and I probably never will at this point, now that I've kind of taken a step back from most of this content. But I don't think it should be here, really, unless there's something very disturbing I'm forgetting. It should not be in the same fucking category as Solo and the Human Centipede. That's for goddamn sure. A lot of the stuff on this list doesn't actually make sense. I remember it being praised at the time for being pretty nice, but there are much better lists now for anyone who would want to get into this kind of content. There will be disclaimers at the end about what I think about that, about people wanting to get into this type of stuff. We'll get to it. Suicide Club, I didn't watch the sequel, Noriko's, I think it is Dinner Table. I don't know the significance of that title either. I didn't like this. I don't understand the metaphor. That may be a cultural thing. There's some weird metaphor with like the girl band, like singers group at the end, and I don't understand, or it's an allegory to something else. I don't get what it is. I just didn't understand it, and the parts that I did understand were just kind of not great. Um, How's the Jack built? I don't know this. Whoever made this tier list, I don't think watched half of these movies, which I can't really blame them for. This isn't great. It's really fucking long. I bet you there's a cult following for this movie, but I'm not familiar with it. It's kind of pretentious a little bit, but it's self-aware because the main character is the narrator and he's unreliable and pretentious because he's a narcissistic serial killer. But it still kind of comes off as being a little bit pretentious just based on that, because just also in the way it's filmed and everything, and that may have been the intention. I'm not sure. I didn't enjoy it very much. It's really fucking long. If I remember correctly, it's like 2 hours or more. Okay, now we're getting into the bad stuff. Or the really bad stuff. This is so I've heard some not great things about the developer of this. Slow Torture Puke Chamber, Slaughtered Vomit Dolls, and this is the Vomit Gore trilogy. Believe it's called. It's been a while. And Regurgitated Sacrifice. That's the trilogy. And then I've also seen Black Mass of the Nazi Sex Wizards, if that tells you anything about this type of content. I have not seen the other one that has like the pink or no, that might be Black Mass. It's the other one about the main girl. And then where is oh, it's all the way down here. I've heard some not great stuff about the director, whose pseudonym is Lucifer Valentine. I've heard that he treats his actresses, in quotes, poorly, but that's just a rumor. This shit is actually just vomit porn. Like, that's all it is. Apparently, from interviews I've read, I don't know if the interviews are real. The director, he has a vomit fetish, like specifically a vomit ass to mouth fetish as well, from stuff I've read. So this seems very much like, let's make vomit porn, but also put a thinly veiled story over it. So yeah, not the best content. It's just porn. It's just a metaphilic porn. That's all it is, with some really weird, disturbing scenes and violence that kind of is just thrown in there to make it into a movie so that it's not just vomit porn, even though it still ends up being 70% of women vomiting into toilets and on each other. Life and Death of a Porno Gang is another Serbian, I believe, film. It's like, I don't fucking remember the title. This is better than a Serbian film, I'll tell you that right now. And I would say it's almost equally disturbing to a Serbian film, but it is a better movie. I liked it a lot more. A bunch of people traveling around the country in a fucking like a traveling peep show or traveling they're traveling porn actors and actresses. They do porn for people in little villages in the countryside. It's it's something, I'll tell you that. I don't remember anything about this fucking movie. It's just I think the reporter asks too many questions and ends up the victim of a guy making snuff films. I don't remember anything really bad happening. It's such a forgettable film. It's just so not good. I haven't seen the sequel to Necromantic, but I have seen the first one. It was fine, I guess. As fine as any of these fucking movies can be, really. It's just a couple of necrophiliacs doing simulated sex with simulated corpses. So, you know, it does have more of a story than that. Um, and the director does kind of try to be like a big man about like, well, you guys don't like the normal horror movie industry. You're disgusted by it. Or you're disgusted by this movie, but you laugh at the normal horror movie industry, or whatever the fuck he tries to say. I don't know. I haven't seen this. I don't even know that this is horror. I don't really know that this is even disturbing. It's like Spain anti-communism stuff. I don't remember. I know the director made a couple of other movies, one of which I may at some point watch. It's like He Walked Like a Crazy Horse. I believe that's the same director. This is pretentious nonsense that is far too long. It's artsy avant-garde dipshittery. It's like 90% film of bones and bugs and scavenger creatures and dead animals and grass and more bones. It's so pretentious, and everything else is just useless exploitation. It's nothing. It's fucking nothing. It's a useless film. I would really like to watch Carcinoma at some point, but I probably won't. I know some people do like this director. I just can't. Like, I mean, if this is what his work is like, I just can't, man. I can't. I've seen all three August Undergrounds. Mortem's the best just because it's not trying to hide that it's just shock for the sake of shock. That's all it is. There's no plot. It's just one scene of disgusting shit to the next. The first one feels far too improvisational. The third one is just a drama with a bunch of rape. This is the Mortem is the best one in the series, because at this point you're expecting just shock. So to go into fucking Penance, the third one, and not get a bunch of shock, and it try to make like some weird fucking statement about romance, I just and the first one is so boring. It's just shock for the sake of shock with no other purpose, and it's not, or it's just shock for the sake of shock, but the shock is done poorly. Whereas Mortem, it feels more refined. It feels like that's the purpose. It is the best faux snuff film I've ever seen. It just is depravity for the entire thing, and I think they did a good job on it. Even though, again, I have my own issues with that kind of content now, but I it's it's a if you're looking for this kind of content, Mortem is good. Oh God, what was another one that was good? Human Centipede 2 is that, and August Underground's Mortem and Human Centipede 2 are like the go-tos. Everything else can kind of eat shit. I've seen the first two guinea pigs. I mean, so this is the first one is August Underground Mortem again, except this it's done poorly. Like it's not framed well. It's just a girl being tortured for the entire thing, and then the second one kind of the same but with a little more plot, and it's just done poorly. Like it's just not interesting at all to watch. You don't There's no like plot at all in the first one. It's useless. It really is just useless. Uh, there's like the second one. I remember it was like an American actor called the FBI because they thought they were watching an actual snuff film. Which, if you've seen the second one, I think it's Flower of Blood and something else. I don't fucking remember. Um, there are like camera angles, like watching the girl before she's kidnapped by a guy wearing a samurai costume. Like there are different camera angles. Like she's being filmed by a film crew. I don't know how you would watch something like that and think that it's an actual snuff film. Unless I guess the woman signed up for it, which may be what the person who reported it thought. I don't know. This is edgy nonsense. Somebody learned how to do basic animation and they were like, what is the most fucked up animation I can make? It's just useless. It's not interesting. It's not well done. There's a lot of metaphors and stuff in there, and they tried to be all poetic with it. It's just stupid. It doesn't even come across as pretentious. It's just stupid and edgy. This is one of the worst movies I've seen of all time, simply because of how long it is. I don't know if it was originally released in two parts, but the only format I found it in was broken up into two parts, and it connects very seamlessly, so maybe it was one movie. It's 4 hours long total. I mean, and then it's just like the interviews are really interesting, but then the reenactments just feel forced. It's just not a great film. It's Unit 731 stuff, by the way. It's a documentary about Unit 731, and it's just assuming the people they were interviewing were actually a part of the stuff that they claim to be a part of. That part is actually interesting, but it's a chore to sit through just because of how long it is. I believe this is about the crime committed to Junko Furuta, which has been talked about to death on the internet. Um, I think this is the one that's done really poorly and like super disrespectful. I haven't seen it. I never will, but that's what I know about it. I mean, I'm not gonna go through the story of Junko Furuta. It's very tragic and terrible what happened to her and what I don't even think a lot of her um what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of her abusers even face much time, like prison time or punishment. I don't fully remember. I only think a couple of them were punished. It's really, really sad and terrible, and I'm just not gonna go watch one of the hundreds of videos about it. It's awful, and may she rest in whatever semblance of peace she may have. Um, This is just 40 minutes of a woman torturing herself. It's really poorly done. Her guts look like sausages because I'm pretty sure they are sausages. She like masturbates with a toothbrush and then like cuts herself using it. I don't fucking remember. It's really boring. This is just shock for the sake of shock, but again, it feels really poorly done. Not like Mortem or Human Centipede 2. It just feels very low budget. And let's just think of, I don't know, we have an actress here. Let's just come up with something bad that we can do to her in the next like 10 minutes and like pretend that that's actually happening. It just wasn't interesting. The end scene is kind of fucked up, like actually kind of fucked up, but I don't know. I wasn't into it. This is really weird. It's just a lot of rape, and that's all that really needs to be said. Just a lot of women being assaulted. This I barely remember. I remember it also being very, very weird. I I barely fucking remember. I remember there was like a scene with a chainsaw and the girl who like I think Mai-chan like it gets like taken there. One of the girls gets taken to this like hideout or whatever, and then she like ends up wanting to be like a torturer or something. I don't remember. I have no idea what this is. I don't remember what this is. I never saw it. I never will. Doesn't matter. This was on YouTube for a time. It actually still might be. It should not be all the way down here. It's fucking stupid. It's really funny in certain parts, but this is where we're getting into some stuff that's actually it's just porn. Like this is just a guy dressed up as a zombie, wearing a prosthetic cock, walking around and raping women. It's literally just non-con zombie porn. That's all it is. It's just fetish pornography with a story. It's very much like Slaughter Vomit Dolls, although I think really the purpose of this one was more to tell a story than to just be pornographic, but this really is just porn. Um, the Gateway Meat is part of a series of videos called the Brightside Trilogy. The first one is Eating Razors, the second is The White Lie, and the third is The Gateway Meat. I don't fully know what the director's intentions are. The first one has a very poignant anti-alcohol message where this guy's an alcoholic and he drinks, but then he like eats razor blades and he's got a bunch of bad shit going on in his life. So it's very clear like anti-alcohol. The second is anti-drug. It's very anti-drug. These people did a drug deal, or this man did a drug deal. He lied to his oh God, his girlfriend or whatever about like paying off the debt that he has, and then a guy comes and kills their baby, and then both of them, I think. So that's very anti-drug, very anti-alcohol. Those are both very conservative things as far as I know. But then the Satanists in the third movie like worship like Bush, I think Bush Jr., which is very odd because he's a conservative. So I don't know if they're all three meant to be like a political standpoint, but it's just very strange to me that the first two were like conservative viewpoints, and the third one, the fucking Satanists, the evil Satanist necrophiles who have their daughter kill people, are like worship Bush Jr. It might have been Bush Sr. Either way, I don't know. I was just very interesting. This is just porn, pretty much, with the last 15 minutes being shock content. But the first, like literally, the plot of the movie is these people are filming a pornographic film, and then the main actress towards the end doesn't want to do the stuff that she was hired for, so then they mutilate her. It's actually just pornography for the first whatever 3/4 of it. I don't actually remember how long it was. I don't know what this is. This might have been the other one on this list that was also about Junko Furuta. Junko Furuta. I think there were two on this list. It's either like this one or this one. I don't remember. I don't really care. It's just I don't know what this is. If it's about Junko Furuta, I'm sure it's also poorly done and poorly and extremely exploitative. I've seen all of the, I believe, six Traces of Death's films. Or here, let's actually start with Faces. I've seen all of the Faces, or no, I haven't. I've seen the first Face of Death. It's fake shock content, but it was really big at the time. It's one of the original like shockumentaries, or more. It's more of a shockumentary, and it's just a bunch of fake death. I think there are one or two actual deaths in the movie. One of them, from what I read, they were like filming something else in the city, and then one of the like guys came in and was like, "Hey, some tweaker just fell into the river and his body, or fell into the river yesterday and his body just washed up. Come get footage of it." And then there's a body of a like a dead body on the edge of a river. And then also there's a accident between a big ass truck and a biker, and you just see the aftermath of like the bike and like an arm or whatever caught up in the wheels. And I think that also might have been real, but everything else was fake. This is what Faces wanted to be, or maybe they actually didn't want it to be that. This is more of a mixtape, especially the later films, and it's just compilations of people dying. A lot of accidents, like falling off of a high wire, motorcycle accidents, that kind of stuff. But it's I don't know. I mean, if you're into mixtapes, that's a fine one to start with. It's not. There's no. I don't think there's people killing each other really. It's more just the accident deaths. I've seen the first two Mondo Kane films. I didn't like them. The first one, again, shockumentary, old. A lot of so like 90% of the stuff just isn't shocking. or really interesting. Um, I didn't like either of them. Same way I didn't like Africa Audio. There's a bunch of shit in there. It's like a anti-decolonialization film made at the time of decolonialization of the decolonialization of Africa, and it's just like extremely racist. A lot of the stuff that they filmed, I'm pretty sure is fake. Like all of the killing of animals stuff that they talk about, like poaching, I'm pretty sure they actually just went out there and shot animals. There are a couple of times in the movie they do almost die in certain countries that are like in the midst of a civil war. I'm pretty sure they almost die in a couple of points. Like they get shot at on a runway and then they get I remember they get grabbed out of a car. I watched this one with my mom. She didn't like it either. She found it extremely boring. It's like 2.5 hours long. It's not a good film. And then like randomly we'll cut from like war torn Congo or whatever to fucking, I think they refer to them as white beauties or whatever in South Africa, like on some apartheid shit. It's very odd. This, I don't remember who made this. It's one of the people who directed one of these other films, and it's just a bunch of short pieces of media that they put together because they didn't have anywhere else to put them. I think it's four shorter films. One of them is literally just footage of like a dead woman and her baby, I think in Russia, like in their apartment. And I don't remember anything else. It's not a good movie. It's also kind of long. This is kind of an interesting look into, God, I think it's Colombia that they filmed this, like a poor area and the embalmer of that area, and just how common death is and how much of a part of life it is there because of just the crime rate and the lack of wealth. It was interesting. I will give it that. This is just Republican propaganda for why the war in Iraq was actually a great thing and why we should still be in war over there. It's literally all it is. They just show a bunch of like famous like gore videos about like this is the stuff that the Democrats don't want you to see, the wokies, and it's just like the video of that. I don't even think that was in the Middle East. I think it was like a Czech video, but the guy getting beheaded, like, and it's like the close up on his face and he's sideways on the ground, and then a bunch of like ISIS, or I guess, yeah, no, it would have been like earlier ISIS, like ISIS beheadings, Al Qaeda beheadings. I don't even know if that was a thing, but like terroristic beheadings, like prison camps in certain countries. Um, it's just like anti-Middle Eastern. I think some of the stuff in it is or a lot of footage of 9/11. I think some of the stuff in it is very Islamophobic, and it's just propaganda to be like, this is why we need to be over there and kill children. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna defend the fucking Iraq war. I mean, I know it's the lowest hanging fruit ever. That was a terrible war for our country. We did a lot of bad things over there. Not everyone who went did bad things, but they were part of a greater culture of doing bad things. It was just not great. And it's just a propaganda film. This is made by the same guy who did the Vomit Gore trilogy. It's a guy, it's him documenting the lives of a few drug addicts. From everything I know, the drug addicts are actual addicts. Throughout the movie, they do actual drugs. We do get like insight into their actual lives. The only thing that I know is fake is, or for mostly is fake, is at the end one of the girls that they're filming ODs and then she spits up like a bunch of what is clearly pretty much fake blood, and then I think the movie ends. But I think everything else, including when they say that like some of the guys in the beginning like ended up getting shot like midway through the filming and died, and so that's why they're no longer on screen. I think all of that is real. I think the only thing that's like provably false is the that she OD'd and died at the end. She may very well have OD'd, um, but it is a very interesting film, like looking at their how they fall through their lives. Like the main woman who ODs in quotes at the end, like to watch her get frailer and frailer. I think they use heroin, I think is their drug of choice, and it's black metal because it's about black metal very loosely. It's not really about black metal. One of the guys is a black metal artist and a metalhead, but other than that, it's really not black metal. I haven't seen Death File Red. I've seen God, I think it's three Banned from Televisions and then Banned from Television, The Prison Files. This is the best in this tier, in this type of content. It's like this and then Traces of Death. This is very interesting in my opinion, like a look into stuff that at the time was banned from television. It's like what Mondo Game wanted to be, except actually like well put together. and like not really a racist pile of dog shit. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very interesting. I think this is the one where this guy gets his fucking ass beat, and then the guy who beat his ass like resuscitates him and gives him water. I found that. I think that's this one. I don't fully remember. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this. I had a couple of the Death Files at one point that I was gonna watch, and then I just didn't because there's like 12 of them. I believe this is like supposed to be a ripoff of this. Like this is a ripoff of this. So I don't know how all that works. I think this is a show that you can just purchase as well, like on Amazon or something. I don't fully remember. Okay, this stuff, all of this, I don't know why this is here and not here, is just porn. This is all porn. It's just all shock porn. This is just an edgy video that's like 8 minutes long, made by some terrorist kid or some edgy white boy in America, and it's just like video of like the towers burning, and then a couple of beheadings. Again, the beheading. Again, I think it's Czech. I don't think, or not Czech. I think it's like in Chechnya. I don't think it's a Middle Eastern thing. Again, it's the guy on the ground. It's the close up of his face, and then the knife like goes through his throat. I don't think that's a Middle Eastern beheading. I'm pretty sure that was like in Chechnya or something. I'm not fully. I don't fully remember. So, and then also at the end, like the kid burns an American flag on the ground. So actually, it really does strike me as just some edgy white boy, like in the era of this kind of stuff being shocking on the internet. It's not a good movie. It's not a movie. It's a mixtape. This is not a it's a mixtape. This is shit porn. I don't remember what this is. I'm pretty sure this is just weird porn. This is weird porn with people in masks. I've seen the first Squirm Fest. I think there's a sequel. This actually has kind of a plot. This is very much like the Vomit Gore trilogy, except just with uh shit and maggots. Don't know what this is. These are just shock videos, I believe. This is just like a girl fucking a fish, a girl fucking worms, and frogs. This is just porn. I skimmed through this. I actually don't know why I marked that off. I haven't seen this, but I skimmed through this kind of. So I'm not. I wouldn't even count that as watching it. It's just porn. It's exactly what the title says. And you can find it on porn websites. I don't remember what this is. I don't remember what this is. This is just porn, as far as I remember. And now we get to the worst of the worst. You got this, which should have been up here. It's like there's one thing in every single um, tier that should have been one higher. It's very odd. This is there's a lot of rumors about this movie, about it being like porn made by the Brazilian government because they had outlawed the making of pornography, and so the dictator made animal porn for people who would want that. That's like just not true from what I know. That's just like a urban legend, or not even. It's just something that a couple like Redditors said or whatever. It's just a film made by a guy, and it's just a bunch of rape. And then at one point there's a scene with a horse. I haven't seen that, by the way. This oh, this is the big no-no that Wendigoon talked about. It's not. It's a 10-minute. God, I don't remember. It's like 10 minutes and 21 seconds or something, or 10 minutes and 11 seconds. And it's just a bunch of dead kids. Like that's all it is. I said that like it's not horrific and terrifying and awful, but that is what it is. It's dead children. Most of it isn't. I don't even think there's a video of a child actually being killed. It's just kids harmed in the bombings and stuff in the Middle East from Americans is mostly what it is. It's kind of propaganda-ish, but then at the end there's a random like video of a Chinese kid getting the shit beat out of him. And that actually does the rounds on Reddit still sometimes and at other social media platforms. Like the schizophrenic guy randomly beat the shit out of the kid with a broom or whatever. It was yeah, it's bad. It's horrifying. It's just not what people make it out to be. And the fucking and okay, this is a group name from what I know. This is the name of a group that made the video that people reference as SNFR73. The video that people reference is called Necro and then pedophile from what I know. and it's just videos of dead kids. So with that subtext, it does make it a little more disturbing, but there's no bad, like there's no stuff that the name would imply in it. It's just kids who were hurt in bombings and stuff. Um, again, I say just, that is still horrific and terrible, but compared to the things that people say about this and about the 3 hour uncut version that you can find on the dark web, it's not bad compared to that. It's still terrible compared to normal stuff, but it's not what people make it out to be. I haven't seen this. These are terrible mixtapes, just random videos from the internet, and random shock videos from the internet, random gore videos from the internet, and then a bunch of other random stuff. There's a bunch of mixtapes like this. Cunt Fuck Boulevard is one of them. I've seen all four of those, I believe, and it's videos from the internet, like clips from movies. It's a true video mixtape, but just with a lot of porn. I don't even think Cunt Fuck Boulevard has gore. It's just a bunch of shock porn. Haven't seen Food Bar, never will. Haven't seen this or the first two, never will. I watched part of this one. It's just a bunch of shock videos. I'm not going to even talk about the fucking creator. There's whole videos about that you can watch. He's not a good guy, if you could imagine. I think there's five of them, five or six Ogres collections. It's just war footage, mostly from the Middle East, and a lot of car accidents and stuff. And then I watched the first one, and it's just a lot of shock porn, a lot of war footage from the Middle East, a couple of like execution videos, I think that's actually it. Yeah, that's it about that actually. Okay, so here is what it looks like. Okay, so here is what it looks like as a final thing. Yeah, you know, so saw that video by Wendigoon in like whatever 2020, got into this kind of content from it, and then just kind of went down the list. And then this is kind of the bottom. Like this is about as low as you can get with this kind of content within the realms of legality, of course, which I would never have broken because I'm terrified to do that. Um, so yeah, nothing on this list is inherently illegal. There are certain places in the US where some of this kind of content I believe is illegal, and I know there are stronger obscenity laws in places in the European Union and in the UK, if I remember correctly. So some of this stuff, I mean, this has like um one lunatic, one ice pick. So I'm sure that breaks some like of the necro rules they have in the UK for video and stuff that I know of. But it's most of this stuff is just shock content, and then down here it's just gore and porn and shock porn, stuff that a lot of people find shocking. Some people really like it. That's the reason that things like this exist, is because people like it. Um, but to probably you and me, I'm not going to assume that you're not into that kind of stuff, and I'm not going to shame you if you are. It's shocking. Now, about people dying. I became extremely desensitized to this kind of content and this kind of content. And it's easy to do that even without watching this stuff. If you follow the news a lot, you hear, man, it's not the same as watching, but you may watch like a plane crash or a car crash video and then read and it's like, oh, somebody died. You just watched a person die. And it's easy to become desensitized to that because it's not you and you don't know them and you're not, and in a lot of cases you're not watching them actually die. And then if you're watching this kind of stuff, you are watching them actually die or be mutilated and you become desensitized to it in a much stronger way. And it's not great. And all I will say is this: if you are looking to get into this kind of content, the Mondogore subreddit is very respectful, and they're very just honest about what they're into and why they watch this kind of content. There are freaks there, and a lot of them get banned for saying things that are not okay. But I would highly recommend you don't get into this kind of content. It's not good for your mental, and you are getting desensitized to terrible things. You are watching people die, and there's always edgelords who are like, "Oh, well, that doesn't. It's just death." And I understand that perspective because I used to have it, but you have to remember that these are people with thoughts and feelings and families and loves and hates and dreams in their life, and you are watching all of that get snuffed out, and they will never do anything again. And that is their end on the video in front of you, immortalized for hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people to see forever until the fucking heat death of the universe, or until the end of the human species, but whatever. You have to remember, you have to force yourself to remember that these are real people, just like you, just like me, and one day we could end up just like them. One day we will end up just like them, but one day we could end up immortalized like them, executed on film, hit by a car while crossing the street, and the traffic feed is sent all over the globe. And you just have to remember that. Remember that these are people. And that is one of the reasons I don't watch this content anymore. Well, the main one being it is just was not good for my mental state. And as I slowly got therapy and got better, I didn't want to engage in a lot of this stuff anymore. I just used it was just, and then remembering that these are people and they're no longer people. Now they're dead. And it is a very sad thing, and you have to remember it. I'm not going to sit here and say that the people who watch this content are evil. You just, I feel like a lot of them probably aren't in the best mental space, and I feel like a lot of them tend to forget that these are other people and that this can happen to them just like it happened to these people. And that's kind of sad. Just, just keep that in mind if you're wanting to get into this content. I'd say if you're watching anything like up to here. Even some of the stuff in here is like like it's documentary footage. Like that can be respectful. You can engage in that respectfully. But when you're just watching a compilation of people dying or watching shock porn for the sake of shocking yourself, it just there are better things to be doing with your life. Like if you're watching any of this just to shock yourself, just to scare yourself, that's fine. But when you get into stuff that's real people, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me anymore. And it did at one point, and I was completely desensitized to it, and I'm not proud of that, but that is who I was. And you can judge me how you will for that, and I don't blame you, but you just have to remember these things and think about these things and just weigh your options. So take this as a warning. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. This is like a post game wrap up for the effect that the Wendigoon video had on me personally, really, is what this boils down to. And I'm not blaming him. I'm not. I did this of my own volition. He made it sound like it was like worse than the devil itself, so he is not responsible for me finding this kind of content. I went through other avenues, Cold Raven, Plague Moth. Again, speaking of YouTubers who talk about this shit, I wouldn't recommend either of them. That's just me. Uh, Plague Moth has some issues, I think, and Cold Raven also has some issues. And then there are some other ones who are too young to be doing this stuff, in my opinion, or who were at the time they started. Actually, I made my first video years ago, and it was a review for a mixtape. It was 2001 Faces, which is just a garbage mixtape. It's a lot of accident footage, just a lot of stuff stolen from other mixtapes, and I made a review, and a very similar style to the book reviews that I do now, just way jankier, if this could even be less janky. But just, yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm not blaming Wendigoon. I have some issues with his video on this subject, but he is not responsible for me finding this content. In no way, shape, or form do I blame him or any other person for my decisions. My decisions are my decisions, and my decisions alone. And that's, yeah. I mean, have a good day. Remember, just be thankful that you are here. Uh, and just remember that things can get better for you. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. See ya.